One, two, one, two, three, four.
I always think of PDCA as the culture of lean or the culture of the TPS system. How do you look at PDCA? Is it more of a tool or is it a culture?
That's a very interesting question, and you're certainly not going to get a short answer on this one. Because as a sociologist, I'm of a belief that tools and culture are very linked. I think that ultimately we're all talking apes with a bias for tools, and much of our culture is made of our tools and how we use our tools. What makes a big difference is the fact that the same tools are used differently by different people. So in this sense, I would have to answer yes to both. I think that PDCA is essential to the lean culture, and it's also a tool. And as a culture is nothing else than a collection of individuals. I mean, we've never seen a culture walk the streets or order a drink in a bar. It's a collection of individuals, and the question we have to ask ourselves is, what does PDCA mean at individual level? And here I think it's very interesting because we definitely are biased towards P and D. We've developed a culture of planning, which is very highly valued, and certainly of doing. So most people will think about planning the next move and then executing the next move. We're appalling at confirming, and we're terrible at drawing conclusions because it's all water under the bridge and it's all embarrassing and it's all big debate. So I think that what is really interesting at PDCA is, how do you, as an individual, learn to pause and confirm your results? And then once these results are confirmed, to actually draw some conclusions in terms of either adopting or adjusting or the act part of the PDCA, and then starting again. And I think that is what brings lean so close to scientific thinking, is that just because you like an idea doesn't make it true. Even though your chemistry tells you, I like this idea sounds good, it's intuitive, I have a gut feeling about it. It just means that you like the idea. It doesn't make it true. And so we teach people, and it's personally, so you have to learn, how do you confirm your ideas? What makes you think you're right? You feel right, but everybody feels right about everything. This is how we feel. If not, we would have a different idea. So,
well, Michael, I always, when you say that, that's the tough part, because can everything be tested? I mean, you want to confirm it, but it's really difficult because so many times you can't test one individual thing, that you'll have 2 or 3 things that you are doing from the plan stage, and you're saying test it here is what you have to do, but how do you test all that stuff? And how do you know that that one particular item is what caused it?
Well, okay, this is a very complex subject, many aspects to it. Let's take it simply. Instead of testing, let's call it humbly confirming. Can everything be confirmed? Yes, it can. I can just talk to you and say, this is what I think. Would you confirm it? For instance, I'm good friends with one of the CEOs who's one of the top guys in lean construction. He's got a construction company, and he's been making remarkable profits from the lean effort. When he took over the company, the crisis has just happened, so his volume crashed to 40%. In the first year he was CEO. And in that 40%, he went from a zero profit of the previous CEO to a significant profit just doing lean. So we had this conversation. Why is it working? It's a serious conversation. We know what we're doing. We sort of think that we know why it's working, but we still have 3 years down the line this conversation. We can see it working, but why? So we have different ideas. We try different things. And all we do sometimes is just chat, challenging each other and confirming the facts. And I have a hypothesis. Today we were talking about better communication, and he said, well, yeah, maybe you're right in some cases and some not. So you see, that can be a very simple and humble process, that you are, rather than defending your own ideas because you like them, you go into a process with people you trust fact-based, you're together at the Gemba, and you just try to confirm.
So you're saying that confirmation, but we still need data, don't we?
The first thing we need is facts. Data can be data. The way I see it is, to have information, data needs context. So data plus context is information. Information plus understanding is knowledge. And knowledge plus compassion is wisdom. So you build it up. Because if you just have data, if it's out of context, it doesn't tell you as much as you think. So the thing about facts is that you're in the real place, you're at the Gemba, you're with the people, and you look at the data in the context that you understand where the data comes from. Then what you confirm is you confirm your understanding. Yeah, we understand the information, I understand what happened, but do we understand this? And we compare. And it's this confirmation of this understanding that gives us the knowledge. And the bit about compassion is actually very important, because if you don't put the people, your customers first, your people second, in the equation, and to try to feel how they feel and look from their eyes and stand in their shoes, well, you probably will make some very unwise decisions. And we will have a thought together for all the people we know in Japan and all the terrible things we see in the world. Well, people had what they thought were the perfect knowledge, but lacked compassion. They didn't put the people in the equation, and they end up taking decisions that are technically correct and humanly dumb. There are many degrees of confirmation. The most obvious confirmation is I have an idea, I say, hey, Joe, what do you think of it? Then we compare our data, our facts, our experience, and it's confirmation. But if you are genuinely interested in knowing whether your opinions are correct or not, you can go into greater degrees of confirmation. Then you were asking, there are many factors. When you look at a quality issue, first thing, say, let's list the factors. And what kind of experiment we could imagine to confirm which factor is most important. And then you can go all the way to Six Sigma and very quantitative methods. And there I would agree with you that not all things are quantifiably testable. But you see, confirmation is a range of things. Now, where PDCA becomes very smart is because it loops back on itself. So when you better understand your confirmation process, you start planning differently. Let me give you again an example of this construction company. So the CEO of this chap is very into being socially responsible, and he believed that we should have buildings that create less carbon consumption and, how to say, less heating consumption. So he wants to reduce the waste of loss heating. And he's been very serious about it for years. And so he put his company into a competition. There was a big competition locally that the best buildings would, and he was absolutely gutted because his project didn't get selected. Because all the projects got selected were the real showy, very expensive, high-tech, completely undoable in an industrial format, but that would look good in a brochure. And his project was more reasonable, and that didn't get selected. And it was very interesting because out of this failure, rather than just say, okay, this is not for us, forget it, we started thinking lean about it. And we thought, okay, hang on. Do we have a test method for a lower consumption building? Do we know what we're talking about? And he went on a different way, and he got an engineering firm, and they built together a carbon consumption calculation for buildings. So now he's got a different look at it, which is he's got a test method. He looks at when they're engineering the building, they look at the carbon, they have a ranking of carbon consumption, and they start looking at things that would improve this ranking. So here you see PDCA, you start integrating your confirmation method into your plan, and it takes you in a completely different direction. takes you to planning for
Bed